A lot of people want to know how to install the frost blankets.
Do they know?
Do they?
All right, so let's talk about it. You can put frost blankets directly on plants in an emergency situation. I know that when I had my nursery, you get caught with your pants down sometimes, and sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. Something's better than nothing. So putting it directly on your plants, last ditch scenario, do what you got to do to survive the night. But I would highly suggest that you put them on hoops, which we'll talk about hoops here in a second. And that basically takes us to floating row cover. So you can pretty much, any type of structure that is just slightly above or a little bit above your plants that the frost blanket rests on, it's great because not only do you get the holding capacity of the frost blanket and the protection from the frost of the blanket itself, but you're also creating more air mass to protect the plant. We talk a lot about air mass in hoop houses. It's no different than what we can do on a floating row cover. So why don't we talk about, we'll show everybody what we got behind us, which is a makeshift bed scaled down for our use here. Mm-hmm. We'll show you how to prep the frost blanket, how to cut it, how to put it on, and how to seal the ends. All right, so to mimic what you would do to put on a frost blanket, we built this little makeshift example, which is basically a 4-foot hoop made out of 3/4 EMT that we build with our 4-foot hoop bender. If you want to see more information on that, there's a link in the description below on us making that. So basically, that video is going to cover how to install these pins in the ground and all that stuff. So we're just going to concern ourselves with installing the frost blanket on pre-positioned hoops. So once the frost blanket is over the hoops, you'll use these snap clamps to hook onto the EMT, and that's going to hold it nice and tight. If you got to take it off, they pull off nice, easy, easy. For this scenario, we've got on a pair of sawhorses and a pipe. This is a 6-foot tall frost blanket that's folded over. I believe these are 10 foot wide, which is exactly to fit the 4-foot hoop benders. So we have a 4-ounce frost blanket, and we have a 1.5-ounce frost blanket. The 1.5 is going to be the one we put on first for all the reasons we said earlier, and then we'll show you the double layer 4-ounce frost blanket also on top. So we're going to take the ends. The frost blanket is folded off of the roll. We are a good foot or two past the bottom, so this is going to allow us enough room to tuck or to fold. Whenever we put that together, we're coming up the side, we're going down the length, and Carrie will just pull this out a little bit and match what we did over there. And we have just about a foot or two of tail. It cuts super easy with a pair of scissors, just like a wrapping present. And then we're going to take this end, and I'm going to come over here, take this end, and we're just going to unfold it. Now with this being folded in the middle, this crease marks our center point, so it's even on both sides. We're going to secure one end, and then we're going to go down and secure the other end. That's going to give us a nice tight top to repel the wind, to repel the water, and then we're going to fold the ends and secure these. So again, the crease is right in the middle. Loosely, I'm going to snap that in. Carrie, I'm going to have you pull just a little snug. So I'm going to hold this a little bit as you pull and then snap. Okay. And then we're going to come down to the sides, and we're going to pull together and just kind of take these creases out best we can. You'll always have a little bit of a crease, and then snap it into place about 3/4 of the way up. Come down to the lowest part of the pole and snap that into place. You'll find that you may have to give a little bit of slack, but that's nice and tight. It's going to let wind come off to the other side. Now, I want to show you what to do to tuck the ends. So again, I used the wrapping a present reference earlier when cutting. Same thing. We're going to take this and fold it. Take the slack and fold it. And I like to roll up the slack from the underside so it doesn't gather moisture. And once you place that, what would be inside the bed, you can weight it down with a sandbag. Now, as we've weighted things down, it's a little wonky in here. Don't be afraid to pull snap clamps. Just readjust. You're basically taking off any divot that's going to catch water, nice and tight. So the next thing we'll do is we will show putting on the 4-ounce frost blanket and what happens there. Okay, as you can tell, this 4-ounce is quite a bit stiffer. It's a lot heavier. I mean, it's more than half the weight. So we can go through and loosely clamp that. You can't go over a snap clamp, so you'll have to come off to the side and basically do the same thing. But I'm going to stop here. Let's just pretend that this is all put together, folded, sandbagged, and it's the next day. Overnight has passed. The big frost threat has passed, but it's still cold enough to leave that other layer on. So we would back it off, remove all the snap clamps, and Carrie, what we're going to do is we're going to take this side and just pull it over and rest it on the ground as if we were storing it for the day. Now, the more you use this, the more it's going to not be as stiff, and it's going to get used to being folded. The next evening, you could come, put it back over, snap it down, and as you do that, remember the sun the next morning, the sun shines through, just like the example when we were outside. There's less light coming in here. The next day we take it, we put it down, now more sunlight's coming through. The next day, hey, it's going to be super warm for 3 days. We have a warm front coming in. Go ahead and take this off, rest it on the ground just like that. It's going to be in between rows. Let all of that sunlight go through, take care of the plants the way they want to be taken care of. And that's basically how you do it. You'll notice we didn't put anything here. If you wanted to, if you felt better about it, order a few more snap clamps and you can do at least the bottoms. But just like a hoop house, the end walls is what matters. There's no limit to how many you can put on. Put on as much as you want. 3 to 4 is plenty for a 4-foot bed, but hey, it's your farm. Do what you want. More the merrier. So before we end, I want to talk a little bit about maintenance in that, this frost blanket, it's going to let the moisture bounce off. It's going to let the air pass through. It's going to hold the heat. But as you see, folding it on the ground, the dew point's going to hit. The frost blanket is more than likely going to be a little wet with droplets that are not soaking through. It's going to hit the ground. It's inherently going to get a little dirty. So as you're moving things around, those warm season parts of the wintertime or at the end of the season, don't be afraid to get a water hose with like a medium sprayer. Spread this out with a helper, especially if it's still on here, that helps. Especially if the bed is in transition, you can start getting it a little wetter. And go ahead and clean. You don't have to put soap on it. You don't have to do a pressure wash it, but just scrub off the dirt, maybe get a little brush and kind of work the dirt out of those holes and out of that you can see the texture of this, but it is going to soak up a little bit of dirt throughout the season. And what that dirt's going to do is A, add weight to the blanket, which we're always wanting to keep all the weight off, and B, it's going to reduce the amount of sunlight that could come through. So whenever you get a chance, especially on the warm days, spot clean it if you have to, but before you put this away for the summertime, get as much of that dirt off as you can. Prolong the life of these investments that you've made into your farm. All right, we've reached the end of the video. You now know what causes frost, what it can do to damage the plants, why crop selection is so important. You know about Frost Blanket, how it works, how to choose the right weight, and how to layer it. And now you know how to install it properly. So the very last thing we'll leave you with is having this ready to go in time is the most important step. So I know it's not anywhere near the frost date for a lot of us right now, but by the time this video comes out, it's going to be October. The closer we get to Christmas, the more the likelihood of package delays coming with the shipping of Christmas presents and all the things associated with the holidays. So let's get this stuff ordered and have it before you need it. And it's not just the frost blankets. Don't forget the snap clamps, and don't forget to secure your EMT and your rebar pins and get your poles pre-bent and hopefully installed well before you even need it. And how nice is it going to be whenever you look at the forecast, now you know the conditions to look for. Your winter crops have been transplanted out, they need protection, and you're all ready to go and you can sleep well that night. So that's our goal, is to make sure that you're well protected. And if you like this video, a like and subscribe would be great, and we will see you on the next episode.